Way back in the valley of 19th century thought, a man named Quimby had a lesson he taught. That the body is just paper and the mind is the pen, writing health or writing sickness again and again. He traded in whispers and the power of the will, a ghost in the clockwork keeping time very still. Oh, it's Quimby's fall evolved for a new day, naming the future and claiming the way. From the healer's old table teasered are the trees that we grow. Manifest the mountain, claim the rising sun. The cycle of believing is never quite done. Now the atom is a dancer and the observer is a king. They found the subatomic in a prayer and a ring. They call it quantum spirit, they call it physics of the soul, but the man in the mirror is the one in control. 100-year bridge from a basement to the stars, still hiding the truth behind these golden bars. Quimby's fall evolved for a new day, naming the future and claiming the way. From the healer's old table teasered are the trees that we grow. Manifest the mountain, claim the rising sun. The cycle of believing is never quite done. Claim it then. The light is fading from the glass.
Hi, my name is Tony Berard, and this is going to be my first debunk video. We'll see how it goes. Alright, if you go to Joel Osteen in his, I think this is one of his blogs. I have his address here, but it's a long address. I'll put the link in the description. That's how I have a little file here with my notes, so I'll do that. All right, so here we go.
God has put dreams and promises in your spirit that may seem too big, impossible. You don't have the resources, the experience, the connections. Don't do like Zechariah and talk yourself out of a miracle. Get in agreement with God. Dare to declare what He says about you.
So that's at 28 seconds. So Zechariah was old, and his wife was old, and an angel of the Lord came to them and said that they were going to have a baby, and that baby was I don't know, Joshua maybe, something, I don't know. But this name it and claim it preaching that Joel Osteen is saying that all you have to do is say it, and then the universe brings it into existence. Well, that's not true. It doesn't. All right. He's getting this, you can't see my mouse, so I'm just basically putting it to me, but I can show you this. I can put it here. I will expand it out. There, you can see my notes. I'll put it slightly less so I can still click on the YouTube video. Alright, so these are my notes. I'm going to make them bigger. There. Can you see the YouTube video? Is my mouse up there? Maybe I need to bring it down slightly. There, now you can see it. All right, so now you have my notes. So if you go to this YouTube link, you'll find Joel Osteen. Why you would do that, I don't know, because why would you listen to a fraud? But many people do, so if you hear this video and you believe in Joel Osteen, maybe you won't after this video. Joel Osteen makes a supernatural claim at 1748, so let's go to that. So I will put this at 1748. That was mainly what I wanted to show you. This will be a couple seconds before. All right, listen to this.
If you don't say it, it's not going to happen. Something supernatural occurs when you say, Father, thank you that you're my protector. Thank you that you're my provider, my healer, my way maker. Thank you that you're bigger than this problem. Thank you that you're bringing dreams to pass. When you say it, the creator of the universe goes to work. In the scripture.
So there you have it. He's telling you to just say it, and then the universe, God, makes it happen for you. Well, I'm a billionaire. Thank you, God, for making me a billionaire. So in the morning, I'm going to check my bank account and see if I'm a billionaire. Did I make a deposit? No. Where would I get the money to make that deposit? You can't just say it. You have to do things and put things in action for yourself that you do. God doesn't exist. So God cannot make anything a reality for you. So that was the main thing I wanted to show you from Joel Osteen's video. So now let's go back to my notes. This theology, if you want to call it, has a lineage. It goes back, it can be traced back to Phineas, Parkhurst, Quimby. I don't know if you can see that well enough. Let me blow up even more. There. That's better. I think you can see it now. Can I blow it up even more? All right. That's much better. All right, so you can follow my mouse here. So Phineas Parkhurst Quimby was a guy in the mid-1800s. He's the founder of the New Thought movement. He was a clockmaker turned mesmerist. You know what mesmerism is? That was Anton Mesmer, I believe, a French guy, who said he put people in water with magnets in the water, and he would stir the water, I think, and that would bring magical powers to people. He was a forerunner of actual hypnotism, which I do think hypnotism is a real thing. You can access the subconscious mind, not for magical powers, but to maybe you might have some hang-ups or something that are tripping you up. Maybe you can't quit smoking or something. Hypnotism does have some success, I think, with something like that. So, but it's not magical. That's just, I think it's more of a placebo effect than anything. And placebo is real. It can be measured by science. All right, so anyway, this Quimby guy, Phineas Parkhurst Quimby, he developed the belief that all physical illness is simply excuse me, a manifestation of incorrect thinking. He taught that the mind creates reality, and by changing your beliefs, you can cure the body. Well, some of that is placebo. So he saw something about the placebo, but it only goes so far, you know. Even Joel Osteen's mother, he talks about in this video that I was going to show you, but his mother had cancer, and you know, she was only given a few months to live. So I looked it up with AI and stuff, and her husband, which was his father, and her, they decided to just go home and just wait for her to die. But she didn't die. She actually lived until age 91, and she died 4 years ago, I think. Something like that. But she made it to age 91, and she died of natural causes. So her cancer went into what we would call in medicine spontaneous remission. It happens sometimes. It was not an act of God. But Joel Osteen sells it as an act of God. And so that was a manifestation here, that you can cure your body. Sometimes your immune system kicks in, medicine can't explain all of it, but it certainly isn't God. It was spontaneous remission. But anyway, so this Quimby guy came up with this thing called the divine mind that humans can tap into. Then there was this guy, E.W. Kenyon. He was in the 1890s to 1940. He picked up the banner. So positive confession, and he brought Christianity into it. So his phrase was, what I confess, I possess. So he essentially Christianized the idea that human words act as spiritual containers that carry the power to alter physical reality. But they don't alter physical reality. So you can have a placebo effect inside your body, but you can't manifest, wealth and all that. But that's what these people are saying, that you can do that. Well, I manifested $1 billion into my bank account just by saying it. Is it true? No, of course not. It's not true at all. All right. Then the next person in the line of ancestry, if you will, to Joel Osteen is Kenneth Hagin. He was from the 1950s to the 1980s. He had the Word of Faith movement. And so skeptic debunk scholars have proven that Hagin heavily plagiarized Kenyon's writings. Kenyon was this guy. Let's look at him a little more then. The takeaway. Kenyon coined the phrase, what I confess, I possess. He essentially Christianized the idea that human words act as spiritual containers that carry... Okay, I read that. Kenyon studied at the Emerson College of Oratory, a hotbed for Quimby's New Thought ideas. He took Quimby's metaphysical concepts and wrapped them in evangelical Christian terminology. All right, so he took Quimby's ideas that your mind can heal yourself, and he turned it into a Christian ideology. Kenneth Hagin plagiarized that. Then there was the televangelist boom from the 1970s to the 1990s. The prosperity gospel. Preachers like Kenneth Copeland, I'm sure you've heard of him. He's the biggest one out there. But he's in his late 80s now, and so... and John Osteen, which is Joel Osteen's father, is probably around the same age as Kenneth Copeland, because the mother died a few years ago at age 91. So John Osteen might even be slightly older than Kenneth Copeland. But being an old man on the stage, he doesn't have the charisma anymore. It looks like he can barely stand. I think Kenneth Copeland made a prediction that God said that he was going to live to age 120. Looking at him now, there's no way that dude's going to make it to 120. You can't just speak the universe into existence. It doesn't work like that. So this televangelist boom, they shifted the focus heavily from physical health to financial wealth. That's the money. You can't just manifest money. Faith was redefined as a measurable force, and words were the mechanism to release that force to acquire money and success. Then now we have Joel Osteen. He's the polished pitch man. The Power of I Am. I thought he also had the claim it, name it and claim it. Yeah, that's the catchphrase. The Power of I Am. So Joel took over his father's church. So John Osteen I guess he didn't get his own. Okay, here's John Osteen. John Osteen is Joel's father. He had a church, and he used the Word of Faith mechanics. So then Joel Osteen basically inherited that. So he's a second generation fraud. So the through line is clear. Quimby said that your mind creates your health. Kenyon added Jesus to it. Hagen claimed it was a divine law, and Osteen sells it in stadium-sized doses as living your best life. Well, Joel Osteen is living his best life, but he takes from the congregation. And so I'm leaving this up here. You can read this at your leisure. You can pause the screen, and then read it. It's right here. So there's a through line from Quimby to today's TikTok manifestation trends. I've seen a bunch of these people. One was called the High Priestess. Deepak Chopra is a quantum mystic. They delve into quantum mechanics, the fraud part of it, because quantum mechanics itself is true. We can measure the like the slit lamp experiment, and they keep citing that stuff in the observer. All the observer is a photon hitting the electron, moving it. It's not just the consciousness of the observer, but these frauds, they take the language of the science that the public does not understand, and they manipulate it to mean something that it doesn't. My speaker just turned off, but I'm not using it right now, so it's okay. All right, so here is how the ideology evolved step by step. So Quimby was the first guy, but there was some other people. Mary Baker Eddy, I'd never heard of her, but apparently she founded Christian Science. That's probably the Christian Science Monitor, I would imagine. And Wallace Wattles, never heard of him. So Quimby's original idea was primarily medical. And then the followers, the science of getting rich. And I had heard of Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. I actually had his book a long time ago. No, it didn't work. You can't just think and grow rich. Norman Vincent Peale's The Power of Positive Thinking. I think he also wrote How to Win Friends and Influence People. That might have been Dale Carnegie. Which, that might be true. How to Win Friends and Influence People. There's certainly an art to winning friends. You can't just rake them over the coals and expect them to stay your friends. But these frauds are able to do it somehow. I don't know. All right, so the mystical language was dialed back in favor of psychological and corporate-friendly terminology. This is the secular track, and how the law of attraction is 1990s to 2000s. I've seen some of the manifestation people today talk about the law of attraction. So this isn't just to the 2000s. They use that language today. The internet era saw a massive resurgence of pure new thought, rebranded as the law of attraction. The Secret in 2006, that was Rhonda Byrne's book. It was a cultural juggernaut that explicitly promised that thinking about a bicycle or a check in the mail would literally cause the universe to deliver it to your door. Well, I thought about the $1 billion in my bank account. Is that going to make me a billionaire? I'll find out in the morning. Of course it's not. We still recording? I guess so. Good. I know my camera's getting hot. I did a lot of prep for this thing. My poor camera. It's overheating. But it hasn't cut off yet, it appears. Yeah, I'm still moving in the frame. I don't know if my head cut off a lot. I've been reading this. I guess not. All right, so then we have quantum mysticism. Here's Deepak Chopra. Joe Dispenza, and countless social media manifestation coaches. I've seen a few of them. It's just terrible. I have a video. I will show it. I can certainly show my own video. So I'll minimize this. Go back to this. I'm going to need to turn my
JLab on.
So I turned my speaker back on. Let me go to my channel.
Bluetooth connected. Battery full.
I have a lot of stuff on my channel, as you can see. Where did I do my proof against quantum mysticism? So I'm not going to play the intro for you. Let me go to the here. All right, so I'll just stay in pause mode. So this is the Planck-Einstein relation, E equals HF. This is what the energy that the fraudsters in quantum mysticism talk about, the energy. And so in quantum mechanics, we have an equation for that. The energy is H, which is called Planck's constant, times the frequency. These fraudsters talk about frequency. Frequency, can you see my hand? Frequency is just the speed of the wave. So as a wave passes this point, you can count how many peaks passed by that point per unit time. That's frequency. That's all it is. It's a measure of the speed of the wave as it travels. And the mystics, quantum mystics, claim that this frequency can be used because this part of the equation is a constant. So unless you want to say the constant changes, then the only thing you have to work with is the frequency. And that affects the energy of the matter wave. This was a insight developed by Louis de Broglie back in 1924. So let me see if I can get, so there's E equals. So then there's a thing called the universal wave equation. The frequency is equal to the V phase divided by lambda. You can watch this video. It's the proof against quantum mysticism and manifestation. I have my cartoon guy, Sundown Blackmore, give this presentation, and it's nicely done. You can watch it. So the frequency is the phase velocity of the wave divided by the frequency. Let's go to the next one. The de Broglie wavelength equation is frequency. Notice frequency keeps appearing here. Oh, that's not frequency. That's the wavelength, lambda. I, for some reason, hallucinated an F. It's a lambda, Greek letter lambda. And it's H, which is Planck's constant divided by momentum. We use the letter P for momentum. I don't know. Probably there's some Latin derivation to it. There's the equation for momentum. P is equal to mass times velocity. And the last equation we need is the phase velocity is equal to the velocity of the particle divided by 2. So there's this, you've heard of the wave-particle duality for photons. De Broglie proved that it was also true for mass, matter. Protons are waves too. And that same E equals HF, E equals HF applies to matter particles too. That was de Broglie's genius. And by him doing that in 1924, it allowed the bring down from the citadel of human knowledge into the everyday world. So these are those equations. So then, I think this is the next one. No, blank screen. All right, so here we're going to do some substitutions. E is equal to HF. Replace this F with the frequency equation we had earlier. F equals V phase over lambda. When you do that, you get E equals H times V phase over lambda. Let's get to the next screen. So here's E equals H times V phase over lambda. The next equation we have is lambda equals H over P. So we put where the lambda is this. So that gives us V phase over lambda becoming H over P. Then we invert and multiply, so the P winds up on top and the V phase is on the bottom. I didn't show that on that screen, maybe on the next screen. Yes. So E is equal to H times V phase over this. So E is equal to, we invert and multiply, so the P over H moves to the numerator in an upside down form. That's invert and multiply. Standard arithmetic operation. That's how you can handle complex fractions. So now the H is on the bottom and the H is on the top. They cancel. So now you're left with E is equal to V phase times P. Two things. What's next? So then we replace P with mass times velocity. P is momentum. So is equal to V. E is equal to V phase times M times V. So that's looking very kinematic now. Let's go to the last one. So there's the last equation we need to replace. Where is it? Oh, I missed it. There. So when we replace the last V with V phase over 2, the last V phase with V over 2, then that 2 winds up there and we get 2 V's. V times V is V squared. So 1/2 mv squared is kinetic energy. So kinetic energy equals 1/2 mv squared. That's a pretty cool thing. In science, they have this thing called the correspondence principle. And the quantum mystics will never tell you this part of it, that something from quantum mechanics has to bear the resemblance to the real world. There's no magic. So quantum states with high quantum numbers exhibit average behavior matching classical systems. Matching classical systems. There's no magic. There's no surplus. And so we saw that the energy, let me go back to the beginning here. This energy is equal to kinetic energy. So the energy of a proton, when it's acting as a wave, is the same as the energy of the proton if we treat it as a particle, the kinetic energy. It's the same energy. There is no surplus. It's exactly the same. That's what this video shows. So let's go back to the notes. So this quantum mysticism garbage, where you get surplus energy and you can manifest wealth and abundance, it's all false. That's the overriding thing. And when Joel Osteen is talking about say it, or what is it, name it and claim it, no, that's not how it works. So then the proponents hijack real quantum mechanics, specifically the observer effect. The fact that observing a quantum particle affects its behavior. That's not true. It's what is happening in like a slit lamp experiment is a photon hits the electron, and then Heisenberg's uncertainty principle gets altered because there's something called the collapse of the wave function, and now that measurement tells you either the mass or the position, the velocity or the position. That's what it is. The mass doesn't change, but the velocity or the position now is no longer in this quantum cloud state. It's now you know where the speed of the particle, or you know its position. That's what the observer effect is. And so you can't just use your divine mind and observe, $1 billion manifesting into your bank account. It doesn't work like that. So the secular path from Quimby to reaching manifestation and quantum mysticism, it's the same illusion that the religious track took with a guy like Joel Osteen. I showed you the lineage. And so it's the same grift. So the final verdict. So this was a Gemini's final verdict. If you look closely at a modern influencer selling a $500 course on quantum reality shifting or manifesting your specific person, they are teaching the exact same curriculum Phineas Quimby taught in the 1850s. They have just replaced the word mesmerism with quantum entanglement and God with the universe. It is a century and a half of magical thinking, constantly adapting its camouflage to survive the scrutiny of the modern day. So there you have it. I even went through my video showing you the math. I wasn't going to do that, but you know, math sometimes scares people, but I do see math videos out there that have a great deal of following. So I showed you graduate level math broken down into basically beginning algebra level stuff. That was pretty cool. So I hope you appreciate that. All right, I have an outro song for you that you'll like. You might even like it so much that you listen to it during the day. I might make a playlist of the songs I've generated on my channel. I use AI a lot, and this song is great. You can turn your back on science, but it's still looking right at you. So that fits all this beautifully. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Manifesting does not work. Name it and claim it does not work. Physics is out there. You should study that. Study finance. You know, you can learn to grow money or develop a business. You know, put the work in. Also, you know, with my kinematic econometrics, I'm showing that there's a serious problem in the economy. The billionaires are, I'll even show you that briefly. Let's go back to my page. View your channel. Here, I have the new billionaire black hole metric. So I'll just show you the intro.
It's the new billionaire black hole metric.
Isn't she lovely? All right. You have a great day.
He read a blog post written by a guy named Steve. Said the doctors had a trick up their collective sleeve. Threw out the vial, said his immune system was a tank. Put all his trust into the crystal healing bank. Now he's sweating through the sheets and he can hardly breathe. Begging for the medicine he said he didn't need. Close your eyes and pretend it isn't real. You can negotiate with gravity and try to make a deal, but the universe don't care about the things you think are true. Yeah, you can turn your back on science, but it's still facing you. She wrote the numbers down in a manifestation book. Said the universe provides if you just know how to look. Claimed the jackpot, said the millions were already hers. Bought a lifestyle written in the cosmic slurs. Now the tow truck's backing up into a gravel drive, taking back the Benz emotions while her affirmations died. You can close your eyes and pretend it isn't real. You can negotiate with gravity and try to make a deal, but the universe don't care about the things you think are true. Yeah, you can turn your back on science, but it's still facing you. He sold the house, he sold the couch, he gave the dog away. Stood up on the mountain waiting for the final day. He checked his watch, he checked the sky, he checked the holy text, wondering which one of the prophecies was coming next. Now the sun is coming up on just another Tuesday morn. Jesus never come last night, now he's ragged and forlorn. You can close your eyes and pretend it isn't real. You can negotiate with gravity and try to make a deal, but the universe don't care about the things you think are true. Yeah, you can turn your back on science,